Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. I am Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. This is The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. And today, I'm going to bring you another great topic that tends to be controversial, but in my mind shouldn't be. It has gone through many, many different sides of the changes through the FDA and the government, but it's something that has been around a very long time and very well studied. So I have brought in an authority I'm very anxious to give you, Dr. Yi Song from, now you have been traditionally trained in Chinese medicine, but also became a pathologist, studied at Brown University, and then now have opened a new door, or maybe not new, you've been doing this for a while, but shifted into regenerative medicine, which is the best place to be, I think, for all physicians, and developed a retreat and a book and have been widely viewed on media and all. I am so glad to have you. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. Very good. So, as always, I want to start with a little bit of description of your background and knowledge and kind of where you are coming from and how you found regenerative medicine.
I came from Beijing, China, and I've been living in the United States for the past 27 years. So I discovered stem cell regenerative medicine about 5 years ago. And it was by chance. It was not because I had any ailment or anything I was looking for stem cell treatment. It was just because I already have a place in Colombia at that time, around 2021, and I was introduced to a stem cell lab in Colombia. And because of all the regulations in the United States, now, at least in a lot of other countries like Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, you can actually use lab equivalent, has legalized these treatments. Yes. It's just like their FDA equivalent are not going to try to shut you down if they know you're doing that.
Yes, absolutely. Very common in the integrative regenerative world with all kinds of therapies, peptides, everything. So yeah, I see. So you delved into stem cell therapy. So now how are you moving this forward?
So I found out, when I first was introduced into the stem cell lab in Colombia, I wasn't really sure whether it was hype or it was real. So right at that time, my mom had certain conditions that we haven't been able to resolve with even traditional Chinese medicine or other therapies we think may help her. So that's when we said, okay, let's try this because there's no conclusive research showing this will work, but based on the mechanism of the cells and the mechanism of her condition, I just kind of felt that it would help. So why don't we just try it, because there's nothing to lose. I'm not really afraid of, because I already studied about this type of stem cells. So I'm not afraid of saying, some people thinking it's going to cause cancer, or is my body going to reject it? And the other option she would have eventually would have amputation. So which one is better? I guess, trying this would be better than amputation, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then we can go down the amputation route. So it really worked very well for her just within a month. That's when I realized, this thing really has some powerful therapeutic effects. It's not a hype.
Yes, exactly. I'm having a strong argument with a company now about including some, medical therapies for women. And the argument is we stay with science or with evidence-based medicine. I'm like, well, how can you stay with evidence-based medicine when it's not what we're trying to do is not well studied in women, women being left out. And, you have to remember as physicians, we are scientists and it's the art of medicine sometimes, not just the evidence base, right? And I think maybe this applies in the same realm. Do you agree?
Yes, I totally agree. I just feel what we really know in our current Western medical system is a very, very small percentage of what's actually going on in human body. So we understand 99.999% of the human body mechanism. How can you find everything evidence-based, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Also that's the other part about Chinese medicine and Chinese philosophy is we also want to incorporate intuitive healing in our practice because not everything has the evidence-based studies yet. So then say thousands of years ago or even animals, they actually have intuition. They have basic instinct about healing. So it doesn't need to be really well studied because if we follow our intuition, so somewhat like when I talked about for my mom's condition, I somewhat studied the mechanism and I have the gut feeling that it will work. So, that's, so I think that we do need to follow some intuition, not just rigid evidence.
Absolutely. I agree. And then you look at downside because I'm sure your ultimate focus was let's try this only if it's not going to harm her. And really it is very difficult to find harm in the use of stem cell therapy. And of course, if you go down the wrong road of black market or of course, that's aside. When you're using legitimate sources, there really is not much of a downside. And so
exactly. It's like a really very few side effects for most people. And also the other part I like about it is it's not a single cell line. It's when you get the umbilical cord mesenchymal stem cells, it's actually a mixture of different subgroups.
Right.
So then it very close to the natural context ingredients I'm always drawn to in Chinese medicine. So that's the other part that, it's not just like one single ingredient. So it has like those synergistic natural context.
I agree with you. I think the stem cell and its origins, many times people will remark that it comes from aborted babies and, a lot of controversial issues like that. Which we know.
So many people ask me the question, where does it come from? Is it from aborted baby? I said, no, it's from healthy birth.
and consent, consent to get these from, I remember back 25 years ago when I had my daughter, I signed a consent and gave stem cells from the placenta and was very happy to do so. So there's consent involved and everybody knows where it comes from. So thank you for clarifying that. And so,
so did you freeze your daughter's stem cells or you donated?
That was not really offered at that moment, which breaks my heart because we could use that right now. We could use that. Anyway, it is what it is. But so what are the other myths? Is there anything, and especially with the government, why is the government so resistant?
Yeah, so the other myth is like the name for this mesenchymal stem cells, because the father of this type of stem cell who gave these stem cells the name mesenchymal stem cells, his name is Arnold Kaplan, and he just passed away a few years ago, but he gave the name to these type of stem cells about 30 years ago. And he actually, around 2017, wrote an research article on, I think it's translational medicine. And he said we should rename these cells because they're more like medicinal signaling cells instead of stem cells. Because the reason for that is when they enter your body, when, say, you introduce the allogenic donor umbilical cord mesenchymal stem cells into a recipient's body, these cells, they don't really divide and then grow into cartilage in the joint or grow into bones. What they do is they actually send cell signaling molecules in your body to mobilize your own body stem cells to do the repair better. So they're more acting like signaling cells or stroma cells instead of stem cells. So he was saying we should rename them, but so far, there are people using these other names like stroma cells or signaling cells, but most people still call them mesenchymal stem cells.
Right.
So then because the confusion of these type of stem cells with embryonic stem cells, and then also people, the government tries to 20 years ago, they wanted to ban the stem cell research in the United States because they thought it was from the aborted embryo, all these kind of things. So then that's when all these things started mixing up. And then on top of that, because these cells have so powerful therapeutic effects in some conditions, especially for people with joint issues. And today I was just talking to somebody in Montreal about his knees, and he has already done 4 different types of stem cell treatment for his knee in the past 4 years. So, and he himself is a scientist and he knows a lot about stem cells. And even he doesn't know about mesenchymal stem cell and the difference. And he asked a lot of questions. Of course, he never asked about the question like embryonic stem cell, those type of questions people ask. But he also asked about the cancer, whether it grows into cancer, all these things. So basically, because of this, and he is trying to avoid having knee replacement. Right. So if this type of thing works so well for joint, and then people don't need to, let's say only half of the people currently doing joint replacement, they don't need to do joint replacement. That's a big loss for the industry of joint replacement, right?
Thank you. You said it. That's great. Yes, absolutely. And that's where I had so much fun, honestly, doing these therapies and knees and shoulders. People were saved from these awful surgeries and rehabs and things, that we know will not help long term much anyway. And so what about the cost though? I know that's, and maybe before we jump to cost, because that's something that's important to people, but maybe we can back up to uses. When would, you've tried everything in contemporary medicine. I think part of why integrative and functional medicine exists because contemporary medicine doesn't always hit root cause. So a lot of people then move into more integrative style therapies and solutions. And even there, it gets stuck. I think sometimes there's not always an answer and a solution. And so begin to go a little with more desperation, begin to look a little further. And then the stem cell idea starts to come up. And so where does stem cell therapy fit now as far as, do we have to wait until we're so desperate and years of searching for the right answers? Or is this right? Or is this something we can jump to a little quicker? How do you guide people on that?
So that's why I wrote my book, because my book actually is about merging ancient wisdom with modern technology, including stem cells. So stem cell treatment is not a magic bullet like some people think.
Of course.
Some people, they out of desperation, then they think they are looking for a magic solution for their problem that has been going on for decades. Yes. And actually, you need to start treating your disharmony, the imbalance in your body in the early stage. The earlier you take action, the better outcome you have, and you can prevent further deterioration to manifest as really bad symptoms. So some people, they actually start doing earlier prevention. And I myself, I've been doing stem cell treatment on myself for the past 5 years. And the only problem I really have is one of my knees, and I have already had multiple injuries on my knee. So I found out that I actually had complete ACL tear about 4 years ago, but I never had any surgery. And I do know this eventually can accelerate the need to develop osteoarthritis.
Right.
So I'm not there yet. I don't have osteoarthritis yet. Right. So what I have been doing the past 4 years was I actually used stem cell injection into my knee 3 times in 1 year in around 2023. Mm-hmm. And then after that, only this year, about 3 years later, I needed another tune-up injection. But other than that, I could do hiking. I could do a lot of things. No problem. I don't have any knee instability. So I don't need to do the surgery. And I feel this is an example of real early prevention, right?
Absolutely.
But of course, in a lot of other cases, if people didn't know about stem cells and didn't really realize they could utilize that, and if they already developed into some advanced stage of osteoarthritis or even autoimmune conditions, Parkinson's, they can still benefit from it. So that's why in my book, I actually talked about early prevention, treating the root cause, which is the root cause of aging is stem cell exhaustion. And then because of the stem cell exhaustion, our body can now keep up with the repair and the regeneration.
Beautiful.
So then, we need to address the root cause of aging. That's how we can prevent us from developing aging-related degenerative conditions.
Beautiful. And I want you to tell me a little bit more about your book, and we will have a link on the website as your show airs and beyond for your book. So when did you write the book, and what's the title?
I actually wanted to write my book about 2 years ago. The reason I wanted to write the book was because I realized a lot of people think stem cell treatments are really advanced Western medical treatment. But then in the process of doing this, I realized stem cell treatment actually have its own concept already planted in Chinese medicine about 6,000 years ago.
Nice.
And even in Chinese medicine practice, we use dried up placenta to treat people, to give them strong nourishment when their body is very weak. So that means the concept was already there a long time ago, but they just didn't have the technology to isolate the mesenchymal stem cells from umbilical cord. So now we have the technology. We can take advantage of the technology we have. And also, I don't think stem cell therapy is the magic bullet. It's not like one single treatment, then it can solve all the problems like some people think. So that's why I want to educate people through the book that you need to combine the stem cell treatment with other holistic approaches. Then that's how you can achieve optimal health, longevity. So that's why it's not like a single approach can address your whole body's imbalance, the whole body problem. You actually need to recognize your body's constitution and then incorporate the right proportion of different treatment together to address your particular body situation. So that's what the book is about. And the book has 6 principles. While I was writing the book, eventually I developed these 6 principles to natural longevity. So the book itself, the biggest book, that's going to be 400 pages with illustrations. We're still in the later editing stage, so it has not been published yet. But people can pre-order it at book.regenerationeffect.com. And the book's name is called Regeneration Effect, Secret Wisdom for Staying Young. Okay. So basically it means bridging the Eastern philosophy and Western medicine, and also bridging the ancient practice with modern technology.
Beautiful. Great. I'm going to be on that list. So that's wonderful. And in mentioning to you about, using more holistic approach and stem cells, not a magic bullet, et cetera, agreed. Ultimately, had patients go through kind of a prep phase, especially as they were older. And I'd love for you to address that, older patients using stem cell therapies and why there's some limitations there. But I had them go through some phases, nutritionally, gut health, things like that to improve the immune system's efficiency over just, rampant inflammation so that the therapy would work a lot better. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so mesenchymal stem cells are excellent in modulating immune system. So when we get older, most times one of the hallmark of aging is chronic inflammation. So everybody is aging. I don't think aging is reversible, like some people, biohackers, were hoping. I think we can slow down aging, but everybody is still aging. So we can make aging more powerful, more gracefully, because we can age with energy, but we cannot really stop aging. So since we age and then we always accumulate more chronic inflammation due to many reasons, including stem cell exhaustion, not able to matching the speed of the damage in our body from daily activities. And then we need to also have less autophagy of the junk in our body. So all these things cause chronic inflammation. And then even if we pay attention to our diet, to have anti-inflammatory diet, we do the movement, we do a lot of other things, we have good sleep, our body is still aging, so we cannot keep up with the repair and regeneration. Yep. So that's when the stem cell boost comes in, because it can give your body the boost it needs, like a battery jump, right, for the car, battery starter, because your body is like getting sluggish and you need that jump. But then once you have the jump, you still need to focus on your diet for anti-inflammatory diet, and you need to focus on using some other supplement like glutathione, NAD, to make your body produce the energy more efficiently in the cellular level. And then you need to boost the repair system in your body. So there are also other ways like red light therapy, hyperbaric chamber, other things that can also make your body balance better.
Wonderful. And I would love to expand on a few of these thoughts and kind of your stack, I guess, of things that you have people do. You don't have to divulge the secret sauce, but definitely your thoughts on that. First, we'll take a short break. I've got a wonderful sponsor, Magna Pharmaceuticals, who takes great care of me and helps me with the show. We'll run their commercial, but before we go, I want people to know where to find you. Give us your website information, and also people can take a look.
So they can go to regenerationeffect.com. That's where they can see about my book, about stem cells. And I also have a dedicated website for stem cell treatments that's called stemcelltherapyexperts.com. Okay. And then I have two podcasts. One is about regeneration effect, anything related to health, aging, and longevity. And then the other one is purely about stem cell, called Stem Cell Talk. So both podcasts you can also find on all the major podcast platforms.
That is wonderful. I would love to make sure that all of that information, all of those links, will be on my website, drpbetterlife.com. So you will be highlighted there. And so we will take a very short break. But when we get back, we're going to talk about how to improve your health from just a regenerative aspect, longevity, all that. So we'll take a short break. Be right back.
Depression, anxiety, low energy, weakness, these are just some symptoms of low B12 levels. And the absorbable B12 folate supplement that's helping people declare victory over depression symptoms is De Novo Plus B12 by Magna Pharmaceuticals. Patients with symptoms of depression often exhibit low levels of folate and vitamin B12. The human body needs sufficient folate intake to produce the essential neurotransmitters serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. These neurotransmitters alleviate feelings of sadness, anxiety, and gloom. What makes De Novo Plus B12 so successful? De Novo Plus B12 contains readily absorbable folate and B12. That means it's more successful at correcting the root cause of your deficiency, not just the symptoms. Whether you are suffering with low energy, depression, fatigue, or anxiety, you owe it to yourself to learn more at magnaweb.com. That's magnaweb.com. Please let us know at checkout that you heard about De Novo Plus B12 on The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston.
Thank you for returning back. I am Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston here with Dr. Yi Song, who has given us a whirlwind, beautiful tour of stem cell therapy and regenerative medicine, its uses and whatnot. And I did want to bring up kind of some tips and things that you find very important to, longevity and regenerative medicine therapies. But did we leave anything out? I want to make sure that we cover the stem cell topic well enough. And did we leave anything out that's important to you?
I would say for a lot of people who are not sure whether stem cell treatments are for them, actually there are a lot of things you can do to start in small steps. You don't have to jump into stem cell treatment immediately. I think it takes time for people to understand it. So that's why I also created this type of called Regeneration Effect at Home Kit. So we can actually do a private consultation and understand your body. Then we can design a at home small steps towards the breakthrough. So that's something I think most people should start thinking about because everybody's aging.
Right? Yeah, everybody. Yeah, you can't escape it, unfortunately. We try very hard. And so I think that's wonderful. And your heart and your passion is in the right place. So I encourage people to take a look. Definitely, it sounds wonderful. So in that, again, I don't want you to divulge the secret sauce of what you do, but what do you recommend people do as far as, searching for longevity and taking steps? People start at 20, people start at 80. Everybody's looking for, the answer. So how do you guide people to search that out?
So first, that's number one principle in my book is about recognizing your body's unique constitution. So everybody's different and everybody is born with certain strength and weakness. So you need to recognize that, then you can design your steps and your approaches to address your particular weakness and address the excess as well. So that's how you can bring your body to better balance, and everything is about balance. So that's why for people to understand their body's unique constitution, sometimes they do need to have a private consultation with people who are the experts in that. So they can do the functional medicine test to really understand what's the underlying cause of some of their symptoms. They can also do the consultation with traditional Chinese medicine practitioners who can tell them about what they think the energetic level, the imbalance is. So I think that's the number one step you need to take before you do anything else, because not every single biohacking methods or longevity supplements suit your particular body. It works for some people, but it may not work for you. So instead of blindly trying to follow the influencers on internet, we should really look into our each body's type and then design a plan for our own body instead of just trying to follow the trend.
Absolutely. And recognize that you do need guidance and support from people who understand the science and know what they're doing, not just ChatGPT or some other source like that, please. Our education and our experience collectively is much better than just the random search AI or whatnot. So I appreciate you.
Or the Instagram.
I think that's so exactly lacking certain certifications, and very well. So yes, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue on.
So then once you recognize your body's constitution, then you can design the steps you can take. Of course, diet, exercise, sleep, they are all important aspects. And if you cannot even get these three aspects correct, or at least in the creating a nice environment in your body to do other types of treatments, your body is now ready to take the other treatments, the benefit from the other treatment, because you don't even have the fundamentals in your body to have the benefits. So that's the most important thing you need to address, right? And then after that, you want to address your imbalance as early as possible. You don't want to wait until the fire already starts. Then you think, oh, I need to dig the well to put out the fire. I don't have any water. Or war already started. Then you say, I don't have any weapon to fight the enemy. Let me start making the weapons. That's a little bit too late. So the earlier, the better. And then once you recognize the imbalance, you want to address the symptoms or even imbalance earlier, then you can start looking into the root cause of what is going on in your body. Because a lot of people utilizing Western medicine, they're only treating the symptoms or masking the symptoms. So then that's why they don't get better.
Yes, absolutely. With all exclamation points on the end of that. This is so true. So very good. And I'm glad you highlighted the fundamentals. And we say it over and over again. I think I've had patients tell me, I'm so tired of hearing just diet and exercise, and sleep. But listen, stress too, right? Stress is another, I think that's what got me in my line of rheumatoid arthritis. I think it was the imbalance of stressors, and that took over. So, but do you agree it's really never too late? It may be more difficult as you get older or more sick, but it's never too late. And trust your body, because your body has the components of what it needs. It just needs encouragement, like you say, with the fundamentals and nutrition and rest and all those things. Trust your body. Anything else too in regard to Chinese medicine? I'd love to focus. We're almost out of time, but I'd love to focus for a moment on Chinese medicine, because there's a lot of myth. A lot of people feel there's smoke and mirrors there, but this, like you said, this has been around 6,000 years or more even. But tell us a little bit about Chinese medicine.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the stress, right? So the fourth principle is about tend your body like a garden. So basically, you need to address your body's imbalance. Sometimes if you have headache, your problem actually is not just in your head. It can be your gut not functioning correctly. Or, if you have some problem in your shoulder, it can be some blockage further away from the channels or energetic level affecting your shoulder's circulation. So that's how you look at the body. So you have to treat the whole body instead of just the parts, as if human body is a machine. It's not like if you have this knee problem, let's just replace the knee. It doesn't work that way. The reason for that is because the original parts always work better than the replaced part, even in the machine world. So that's why we actually try to preserve our original parts instead of thinking something we can just switch, then it will fix your problem. A lot of times, even after people have the joint replacement, because of each person's unique angle in the joint, the space in the joint, they still experience other pains after their joint replacement. But once you've done the replacement, you can now reverse it. So why do you want to rush into the replacement instead of you can looking for other alternative treatment that can really prolong your original parts?
Absolutely.
And then after that, we really need to address our mental wellness, which is actually the root cause of a lot of autoimmune conditions. You even mentioned that your rheumatoid arthritis 20 years ago came from the emotional stress. And a lot of time, this is not just one day or 1 month of stress. It can be decades of stress accumulated that's blocking your whole body's irrigation system as a garden. So that's why your body doesn't get the nourishment from the irrigation system. Of course, it will eventually break down.
Thank you. That is very, very, very well said. And I believe that we are starting to understand now how stress and emotional health affects the immune system and the neurological system, and beginning to pick that apart and rewire and understand energy practices, gratitude, those things. All these things now are not so corny and hokey anymore. This is real. And this has been done, like you said, for 6,000 years. It's beautiful. So thank you for highlighting that. Is there anything that we have left out today that you would like to add?
Okay, so the last principle actually is about you need to incorporate all the treatment holistically in the right proportion to help your body. And then you need to follow the natural rhythm, which is the ancient philosophy to help you manage the stress so that you don't stress your body out.
Great. Absolutely. And so I know much of this will be highlighted in your book. So please, folks, pre-order and get your hands on this because it's going to be wonderful. And then go through again where we can find you, your website and all that information.
Okay. You can go to regenerationeffect.com or stemcellstherapyexperts.com. And you can look for Stem Cell Talk or Regeneration Effect on all the major podcast platforms.
Absolutely. And again, all of this will be highlighted on drpbetterlife.com. So please go take a look and really research all this because I think this is a great road that you're providing for people. Lots of wonderful information. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you being on the show. So everybody, definitely go to drpbetterlife.com. If not, regenerativeeffect.com. Is that correct? I want to make sure I say that right.
Regenerationeffect.com. And also on top of that, if anybody interested in just getting an ebook download, a pamphlet for the fourth principle, tend your body like a garden, they can also go to gift.regenerationeffect.com.
Regeneration. I'm going to make sure that goes on too. Thank you. Excellent. Well, I appreciate you providing for the audience different resources. We'll make sure all that is highlighted. And again, I appreciate you so much being on the show. It's been such a pleasure.
I'm so happy to be here to talk about the ancient wisdom and also stem cell treatment.
As are we. Thank you again. And everybody, as usual, we'll see you next week. Please take care of each other.
You've been enjoying The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. For more information, go to drpthebetterlife.com. That's drpthebetterlife.com. And listen next week for The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston.